Everything that you want to know about microdermabrasion will hopefully be explained in this video. Microdermabrasion is a very long, fancy word that a lot of customers forget like how to pronounce it and what the facial is called. It's basically a facial that focuses on deeply exfoliating your skin. It improves your skin by removing a layer of dead skin cells. It's good for acne scarring, pigmentation. If you've got like a lot of texture on your skin, it will get rid of that texture. Because it deeply exfoliates your skin, it will help unclog your pores. It also helps stimulate cell renewal and cell turnover, so it's very good for mature skin. Just to quickly explain what this means, our skin naturally exfoliates anyway, so new cells are produced and then these cells are slowly pushed up to the surface of the skin and then naturally shed off. As we age, this system slows down. Now, if you have mature skin and you have microdermabrasion done, it's going to help stimulate those cells to work a bit quicker. So it's going to give it a helping hand. By speeding up this process, it's going to improve the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Another thing that microdermabrasion is good for is circulation and lymphatic drainage. Now you can get microdermabrasion on your body as well. So if you've got really dry elbows or knees, if you've got any areas of pigmentation or acne scarring on your back, for example, you can have it done on your body. It's normally recommended to have a course of 10 treatments, 6 of them being once a week and the remaining 4 being once a month to maintain it, but you can maintain it as long as you need. Microdermabrasion isn't suitable for everybody. If you have very fragile, thin skin, your skin won't be able to tolerate microdermabrasion. You'll be doing more damage than good. If you have rosacea, for example, your skin can't tolerate it. If you recently had a chemical peel, you cannot have microdermabrasion because they're both very strong exfoliating treatments, so you cannot have them close together. If you're taking Roaccutane, you cannot have this treatment. If you have cold sores, you can't have this treatment. If you have cancer, you cannot have this treatment because it stimulates circulation and lymphatic drainage. If you are pregnant, we recommend that you don't have this treatment because your hormones change. Sometimes you can get pigmentation while you're pregnant just because of your hormones. So it's best to wait until you've given birth, let your hormones settle down, and then we can see what we're dealing with. Also, if you are really young and you've got like young, good healthy skin, there is absolutely no need to get this treatment done. It will also be a bit too abrasive for you, so you can't have this treatment. If you have haemophilia, then you can't have this treatment because there is a risk of you bleeding. This shouldn't happen, but it is a risk. I've been doing this for many years now and I caused one person to bleed, even though it's only happened once and it's rare. If you have haemophilia, it's not worth the risk. You can't have it. If you've had any acne lesions done, we need to work around it. We cannot work over this area because it can spread the bacteria. Any tattoos in the area, we work around it because it can make your tattoos fade. Now there are a few different types of microdermabrasion. There's crystal, diamond and crystal free. Crystal microdermabrasion is the most common. The crystals are powder-like, so it's so fine. And basically it's a big machine. There's a handheld piece that is connected to the machine with a tube, and there's like a vacuum suction. There's like a little mini vacuum and it helps circulate the crystals on your skin. It sucks it up back into the machine and collects it into a container that we empty out after. The crystals come in little bottles that we attach to the handpiece, but this depends on the brand and the type of machine that we're using. Diamond microdermabrasion I personally have never used. I don't really know how it works, but I do know that it is more abrasive. Crystal free microdermabrasion is my personal favourite. The only way I can describe it is it's like sandpaper, but of course it's designed for the skin. It's gentle enough. Generally we go over the face once or twice. This depends on the brand, it depends on the type of microdermabrasion used, it depends on the customer's skin as well. If there are any areas where there is scarring and pigmentation, we do like crisscross movements on those areas, just to do a deeper exfoliation on those areas so you get better results. Now, because this is an in-depth video, I whipped out my old beauty therapy textbook and I wrote down notes on the type of crystals and the type of diamonds that are used, just in case you wanted to know. So there's aluminium oxide, which is the most common one. There's other ones, but it's less effective and it clogs up the machine, so they're not as popular. But I'll mention them anyway, just in case you wanted to know. Magnesium oxide crystals, sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda crystals, sodium chloride, which is salt crystals, nutshells, and fruit stones. But as I said, the most common one is aluminium oxide. When it comes to diamonds, I cannot even read my handwriting, that's great. Silicon carbide is a very hard manufactured crystalline material made from silicon and carbon. It comes as powder. Although silicon carbide is more commonly used than diamonds, the name diamond microdermabrasion is used because it sounds more attractive. Silicon carbide heads are less expensive than diamond heads, so they can be disposed of and replaced more frequently. Moving on to the pros and cons with each one. Crystal microdermabrasion is more hygienic. Now, as I said, there's a handheld piece. There's a tube that connects it to the machine. At the end of that handheld piece, we add a disposable plastic head onto that handheld piece, and that plastic head is what touches the customer's skin. And at the end of the treatment, we simply just take it off and throw it in the bin. The crystals that sucked through the machine, the ones that go over your skin, get sucked into the machine and ends up in that container, we throw those crystals that were used into the bin, so we don't reuse anything. However, a disadvantage is that there is a risk of you inhaling these crystals. Because it's powder form, as we go over your skin, we basically go line by line, making sure that we don't overlap so that an even layer of skin is removed, but you can see a residue of powder left on your skin. Now, even though we go over your face just with the vacuum suction to suck off any of the residue left on your face, there is still a little bit left. Even though we use a brush and like sort of try and dust it off, it's the inhaling that is the risk, so you can inhale some of this powder. Now, I'm not trained in the diamond microdermabrasion, but it says here that the diamond heads are difficult to clean, which I was a little bit confused about because it just said that they are cheaper and it's easier to replace. But yeah, it says it's difficult to clean, so it's not as hygienic. It also says that the treatment itself takes longer to do. You need to repeat more movements to enable deeper penetration into the skin. A good thing is that there is no residue left on the skin, so there's no risk of inhaling any of it, and it's less expensive. I don't know if they mean less expensive for the salon or less expensive for customers. I looked at a few prices online. To be honest, they're all pretty similar, and it really does depend on the area of the salon. Crystal-free microdermabrasion is hygienic because the heads are disposable. It's gentle as well as effective. There is no residue left on the skin, so there's no risk of inhaling any products. Right, moving on to the contra action. So these are things that can occur during the treatment. So you can experience redness, you can experience swelling, and that's just because of any fluid retention that may be in the body. That vacuum that's, you know, helping the circulation, draining out any fluid, that's going to give you a brighter, healthier complexion. But yeah, if you have any fluid retention, then you might experience swelling. You might experience flaking of the skin, and this is just because your skin is like renewing itself. As I said, it stimulates cell turnover, so these cells are, that system is becoming quicker and it is coming to the surface of the skin and flaking off naturally a lot faster. You just need to keep moisturising. Now, as I also said, you might experience some bleeding. This shouldn't happen. This is just if the beauty therapist has gone too deep into your skin. Moving on to aftercare and home care, you should be avoiding alcohol, spicy food, heat treatments, and hard physical activity. This is just for 24 hours because it can stimulate redness. Do not use any products that aren't recommended by your beauty therapist. So, for example, you shouldn't be using makeup after microdermabrasion because that's just, we've just taken off a layer of dead skin and you're gonna put makeup on, it's gonna clog up your pores. Don't use any AHA, so any exfoliating products on your skin. Don't use any really perfumed products on your skin. Just listen to what your beauty therapist advises you to use after. A minimum of SPF 20 should be applied, and the reason why this is so important when it comes to microdermabrasion is because we have taken a layer of dead skin off which was protecting your skin. So now your skin doesn't have that protective layer. I'm now going to tell you my personal advice from my experience working with microdermabrasion. Now, the first thing I can tell you is that customers love this treatment. There is one customer in particular that just keeps buying a course of treatments, buys it, uses up, buys it, uses it up, and she has it done once a month religiously. In terms of results, I can see a little bit of difference in her skin in terms of her concern is pigmentation and scarring. Now, I can see a little bit of difference when it comes to pigmentation. I feel like the darker spots have faded a little bit, but thinking about it, she has had so many courses, but she still doesn't have her final result. Now, this could be due to a lot of different things. It could be because things like pigmentation and scarring, it does take a long time for you to improve it, but it could also be because she doesn't use the products that I recommended her to use at home. But she still loves the treatment and she sees the difference. So I can tell you from my experience, yes, customers do love it, but it takes a long time to treat pigmentation and scarring. Now, depending on the person's skin, microdermabrasion is not really the first thing that I would recommend. If someone has scarring or pigmentation, there are other facials that I would recommend instead. However, if that client has texture, then microdermabrasion is definitely one thing that I do recommend. I had this one client who was getting it was the KC Ultra Skin Rejuvenation Facial, which again is a lovely facial. Her skin was smooth and it was working really well, but she had texture on around her nostrils especially and around her nose area that just wouldn't go away. So one day I just decided to quickly get the microdermabrasion handpiece. I worked around her nose and it was instantly smooth. The next time she came in, she said, I don't know what you did to my skin last time, but my makeup is applying a lot better around my nose and I can feel that it's smoother. So when it comes to that bumpy, clogged up texture, so if you have really clogged pores and it feels rough, microdermabrasion is a facial that I would recommend. Another time I recommend microdermabrasion is if someone has never had a facial before or hasn't had one in a very long time and they want to start having like a standard facial every month. I do recommend microdermabrasion as the first facial you do, just to get rid of that built up dead skin. Once you remove all of that dead skin and then you start doing your standard facials every month, those creams and products will sink in, go deeper into the skin. Even though we exfoliate in the facial when we prepare your skin for the serums to penetrate into your skin, microdermabrasion is deep exfoliation, so it's going to be more effective. If you remove too much from your skin, you're just going to expose your skin to more damage. So if that client doesn't follow what I recommend in terms of wearing sun protection, she might eventually get pigmentation from it because her skin isn't protected from the sun. That protective layer is removed, you're exposing your skin to the sun and you might get pigmentation. It's the same with congestion. If that customer doesn't cleanse properly, doesn't remove her makeup properly, when it comes to makeup anyway, the only thing I recommend is the Jane Iredale makeup because it doesn't clog the pores and it has SPF inside. But a lot of customers don't listen to my advice. Then they're going to get even more congestion because they're using all of this crap on their skin. They're not cleansing their skin properly or with a cleanser that I recommend for them. So they can make their skin worse because that protective layer isn't there. That's why it's not my number one top favourite facial that I recommend all the time, but there are definitely cases where it is the number one facial that I recommend, so it does vary. In terms of my favourite one, if I had to choose, it is definitely the crystal free microdermabrasion. I feel like it's gentle but effective and I feel like it's not too harsh on the skin. So if you can find the KC crystal free microdermabrasion, that is the one that I recommend out of all of them. I hope that you found this video helpful. That's it from me today. I'll see you next time. Bye.